This is Amanda Trottenberg with New Orleans City Business, and I'm with Tina Wells of Buzz Marketing Group, and we just heard a wonderful lecture at the opening ceremony of New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. So Tina, you spoke a lot about Generation Y, and this is the generation that they want to be at a job for 5 minutes. They don't want to start a law firm when they're 22 and stay there till they retire. So how do you see this changing in the corporate world? What is this generation going to be like? Are they going to jump around from job to job, or are they going to do their startups and go from one place to another? How do you see this impacting?
Well, I think one of the kind of biggest things that's impacting this generation is the recent recession, right? So the idea that you work your whole career for this big fancy job, you get your pension, and live happily ever after is completely non-existent for them. So I think what's actually happening is that this generation is saying, I'm going to do what I want to do, because at the end of the day, nothing's guaranteed. So they're kind of living life with no guarantees, and I think that that's creating a really interesting group of employers and employees rather. And I think what is happening, and I think the biggest conversation is, how do boomers interact with millennials, right? And two different groups, two different personalities. I think there's kind of a butting of heads that's happening, and there's going to have to be some kind of shakeout. And I think what I always say is that both generations can learn something from the other. You know, you have kind of with millennials learning about, why things are happening a certain way. Like, let's take social, I think the older mentors know why we can only state certain things, but I think younger millennials know how to say things, how to be authentic, and how to communicate brand messages. So there's a great way for them to work together. So, I hope we see more of this working together, but I think we're kind of in a place where there's some butting of heads right now.
That's really interesting. Do you see that these corporations are adapting to Generation Y and millennials in this way?
I think they're trying to. I think that there's a lot of money to be made if you're a psychologist or someone who can deal with this kind of new corporate culture problem that's happening. Because I think that everyone is aware, and they're really now thinking of what's the right solution to figuring out that problem. And everyone knows it needs to be addressed. It's figuring out how to do that.
Well, you spoke earlier. You started your business very young. You had your first business, I think, when you said you were
I was
16.
Yeah.
But looking back, what's something that you wish someone had told you before you got into entrepreneurship and started your own business?
I think for me, starting so young, I'm happy that no one told me what they did, because had I started at 26, I always joke that I don't think I have the stomach for it at this age, for those things that happened when I was so young. And I think but maybe for me it would have been like, breathe, like it's okay, right? Because when you're so young, everything's so crucial, and there's so many first years of my career I've had to wear a suit. I wanted to be so adult, and now I'm wearing jeans and a blazer or whatever. I've taken a little bit more of a casual view of myself, and definitely not to my clients or my work, but I kind of relaxed a bit with myself and just said, enjoy the experience. Don't be so tough on yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Tina. We really appreciate your time, and this has been a 180 with New Orleans City Business. Thank you.